Welcome to You Want Us to Build What? A game development podcast. This is Ray Batts, my co host here today. I am Jim Welch. And if you haven't watched the show before, we dive into game mechanics and play some games together. So today we're going to be diving into randomness in games. And we're going to be playing Dead Cells, which is actually my first time playing Dead Cells. So that'll be fun. So some games that do this, so just kind of you can get a sense of which topic we're talking about today. I think FTL. If you played FTL, it's a great game. Lots of randomness in there. Oftentimes you just die real quick because you don't get the right parts for your ship. I think Binding of Isaac, right? You run through different rooms. The rooms are random.
You also die a lot of times in
yeah.
that, yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
think
pretty
there's a
common.
theme we're gonna find through randomness that a lot of times it goes bad.
I mean, I don't know about you. I've never died in a roguelike before,
Never.
so
No, I mean that's not really part of the genre.
I'm still on my first run of Dead Cells to this
Nice.
date.
There's something about the sense of death being meaningful that I think is actually really powerful in roguelikes. And roguelikes are so intertwined with randomness, like they're kind of go hand in hand. So other genres, of course, have random rolls, think D&D, all sorts of things. But
I would like to
uh,
touch that with just a shout out real quick about death being meaningful.
yeah.
I've been playing a lot of Helldivers lately where death is completely meaningless.
Okay.
It's all about like it's an Arrowhead Studios game, I believe, and they're really big on blowing up your teammates and team
Yeah.
kills. So you die all the time in that game. It does not
So
matter
you're in.
whatsoever.
You're able to play. You're able to get through the queues. You're
Absolutely.
in.
Oh, I got the hacks going on, right?
Nice.
You got to join a friend through Steam to bypass
Okay.
their
And,
off.
and then they stay on and
Mhm.
then don't sign
Oh,
off. Yeah.
so no, I don't do that. I'm not. No, I have a
Okay.
soul. No,
Okay, that's good.
I
That's
log
good.
off when I'm finished playing. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard the hype and I haven't been able to get in yet, but it looks cool as hell. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fantastic. So, oh yeah, back to roguelikes,
Back to roguelikes.
which are not
Yeah,
Helldivers
yeah.
too.
And I thought today when we were kind of planning this episode, I thought, should we talk roguelikes in general or should we get a little more specific? And so decided to dive into randomness specifically, but we will mostly be talking about it within the context of a roguelike because that genre just uses that system so well. Another kind of theme you'll see throughout all of these episodes that we have together is all of these features are in our game, Our Tribe Above All, which you should go wishlist. We are building that now with Something Special Games, which is the studio that we are filming in today.
Shout out to Something Special for hosting me and giving me some water on the way in. That
Yeah.
was nice. That was classy.
I mentioned before we started shooting, my caffeine is hidden off camera because they haven't sponsored us, so you know who you are, but we'll get that sponsorship. So I'm gonna hop in. Like I said, I've never played Dead Cells. I've seen it pop up on YouTube's and things.
And I'm on the other side of that. I have played so much Dead Cells. I call Dead Cells one of my few. I call it a forever game, where every single platform it comes out on, every DLC, every remaster, I will buy it. I've spent way too much money on Dead Cells and I have it everywhere. So I love this game, but also at the same time, I have been, again, Dead Cells has been playing for about 6 or 7 years now, and I beat it for the first time like a month ago.
Okay.
Yeah, a little embarrassing there, but I still
I,
loved it though. Like that's how much fun I had with this system. Is like I've been losing consistently for 6 years, and still
You stuck
every time
with
I lose,
it.
oh, very much so. Still love it.
When you say like your kind of forever game that you bought a bunch of times, I think of my controller keeps disconnecting. I think there we go. I'm good. I think of like Minecraft when it came out. I bought it like the early days where it was like, oh, $10, you get it forever, but I've still probably bought it like 10 different times.
Yeah.
It's like technically I think I get a free version.
Forever
Right.
don't mean what it used to.
Ray, how do I get out? I'm already no,
Yeah,
I got it.
there
I
you go.
figured
See,
it out.
look, you get that double jump going. Okay, we're gonna have a rough time if that was.
How do
there,
I video
yeah,
game?
there wasn't even a.
I wonder if this can work wirelessly. I might
If
have to
it's-
switch cables. Eric, are we plugged in? Maybe it's a bad port. All right. Technical
What was that early?
difficulties.
Not even
Total-
it was a
total
total
technical
failure.
failure.
Yeah, total technical failure. We got a
Yeah.
TTF on deck.
It might be also. Let me try a different controller.
When we get into post, can we play some of that like that 50s really like calm music, that da 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 da, and then like cut to
The
a
elevator music.
yeah like elevator music while things are going wrong.
Let's see if it was a controller or the cable. Oh, this is USB-C. I can't use that one. Yeah, there we go. I don't know if this one will work any better. Oh, I think that one worked. I think we are golden. All right. We are back.
Yeah,
This
so
this
for
person has a lot to say. I'm not
they
reading
do. We're not gonna lie. None of it's important.
it. I'm really big on story. I really like story in games, but my screen is very far from my eyes, so I can't actually read it. All right, I'm gonna pick this thing up.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
randomness. Is this a random pickup here?
so this is not because you're in the tutorial, but
Okay.
those same weapons will come back later with randomness.
Okay. So I can pick an old wooden shield, beginner's bow. Wait, am I switching weapons?
Yes. So you have two weapon slots
Okay.
at the beginning. So you got to kind of pick. Do you want to go with a bow and arrow, or a shield and
Let's
a
do bow and
sword?
arrow. I want to be ranged. Okay, I think.
Okay. Well, you threw the bow on the ground, so we're off to a pretty bad start.
All right, let's try again. Okay, so
Yeah. Okay. So if I want
all
to,
right.
I
Wait,
would
is that in
recommend.
my hand? Okay.
So the on bottom is what's in your hand. Or
Okay. All right. So I
hands.
want the bow,
Mhm.
and then I still have the sword, I
You
think,
do, yeah.
but I have a secondary weapon, which is a hotkey Y. There it is. Okay.
Hotkey Y.
Hotkey Y.
All right, let's get it going, y'all.
This guy, he's, oh, okay. Can I duck? I can. Does he shoot over my head? Yeah. What's up?
You can
What's
also
up? What's
dodge
up?
with B if you're an avid
Ooh,
reader.
okay. I'm not. My eyeballs. This thing looks scary. Like it's summoning things. I don't like it.
It might be later. We'll get into it.
Okay. All right. I like.
Okay, yeah, you just beat the hell out of the door down. You could have absolutely
Just opened it.
There's an open button, by the way.
Look,
You just said you're like all about story and you love all this stuff, and you're like,
This-
man, I'm just not even gonna read none of this.
no.
Beat it down.
This place looks like it's not my home, and I should destroy things.
Yeah, go for it.
I can climb here. This guy looks dangerous. We're gonna slash him a little bit. So in this particular, do you have a shield, sir? Oh, you do. Okay. Let me
Yeah,
get.
about 50% of his body is shield.
Okay, he is shield.
Yeah, so you're gonna want to go for the back 50%.
Okay, and then okay, and go back down. How frequently do we see? Like, where do you think I'm gonna get my next weapon choice? Oh, I just hurt myself.
So you're gonna see them all over the place. I don't imagine
Yeah.
we'll go more than 5 minutes.
Okay.
Now, I think this is the tutorial level. Maybe it's
Okay,
not
so
random. So
might give me some chance.
yeah, there might be some fixed elements there. So it might be
That's
tiny
actually
bit.
a good point. So really, for what we want to talk to you guys about, it's like, yeah, we want to have fun with this game, but we're really here to kind of talk about these mechanics and what we're doing in these games. If like you're a developer or thinking about working with the developer, and you're like, hey, I want random pickups. To Ray's point, this tutorial zone may not be the best place to give total randomness, because what if you give someone a weapon that is totally trash and their first experience with the game is very unpleasant?
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people who will uninstall a game if they don't like it in the first like 30 seconds to 5 minutes. Yeah, so you gotta fix some parts of it to kind of make sure that they're gonna have a good time.
So I think that's a good kind of design pillar around around randomness, is that it's not ever really truly random. Oh, I gotta read this. Okay, hold on. Oh God, hold on. Kill that guy.
No time to read.
I
dude.
got
Yeah.
something. I got RT. Okay, I wanna mess someone up with that maybe. But yeah, we want to make sure that we're kind of giving. I'm gonna teleport. Ooh, I can go back to the beginning. Don't want to do that. I'm not great at explaining while I'm also playing a game. Yeah, randomness. I'll stand here by this pretty thing for a second. So if you go full randomness, you end up getting a really unpredictable gameplay loop. And so, for example, like in our game Tribes, the first time you hit an upgrade, it's kind of a similar setup to Vampire Survivors, where you're running around and then you get enough XP. It's like, all right, level up, and you get some choices.
Mhm.
We found that it feels really bad to get purely like stat boosts at the beginning. You want to give them like something exciting
Something
and
flashy.
yeah, so it's like, all right, here, like, so we hard coded that there's always going to be a weapon in that first upgrade, right? So there's some randomness, because like what weapon, we don't know. You could get 2 weapon options, but you'll at least get 1.
But no one wants to boot up a game and get +5 to stamina.
Right.
your
Yeah.
first.
It's
Yeah,
like,
I get
and
you, I
also
get
you
you.
can't really perceive that. It's like, what happened? So it's like, you need to start. Ooh, speaking of what happened, what
Oh,
happened?
and there's our first randomness. So
All right.
like I said, I played a fuck ton of Dead Cells, so I'll just
How
so-
good is throwing knife? Is this a good?
yeah,
roll?
it's not bad. I don't like the throwing knife because I just personally don't like bleed and poison style weapons.
Okay.
But if that's your jam, then you should throw some knives.
I realize I can also have a giant screen behind me that says all my
Yeah.
stats. So
But
it
the
doesn't
more
bleed in.
important part is the green text. So in Dead Cells, the green text is going to be your random rolls essentially. So like
Gotcha.
the base weapon has you got your throwing knife or your sword that's always going to perform the same and have like the same DPS start or whatever.
Okay.
But then those green lines, you're going to add like there'll be dozens of them and they're going to get crazy as hell.
Oh,
So
okay. All
so
right.
this one says shots pierce the first target. So that way you can kill two enemies at once or get them bleeding or whatever.
Okay. I'm gonna try be ranged boy, and so I have that, and then I also have that. All right.
So again, I said earlier that I've been playing Dead Cells for like 6 or 7 years. Did you
Uh
know that I played all 6 or 7 of those years without using a ranged weapon
huh. It's
or a shield?
Did you just not want to? Like you're just like, I think that sounds no fun.
So I'm sure we'll get into this a lot later, but there's especially when it comes to roguelikes, there's a balance of like randomness and like familiarity, right?
Mhm.
There's some things of like, oh, I like how this weapon feels a lot. I'm always going to pick it.
Yeah.
And creating random variations on that, like you can have an entire game to itself. I mean, I obviously did, right? Like
Right.
I used melee weapons for 6 years, and then it wasn't, and I was like, man,
6
and I also said I never beat the game, right?
So maybe that was where you were.
Oh, they were 100% related, by the way. Shout out to my boy Quinn, because I introduced him to Dead Cells somewhat recently, and he instantly just crushed it within, and beat the game like within a week or two. And I was like, I'm like, what the hell? Like, how did you crush it so hard, bro? And he's like, yeah, man, it's just the range build is OP. And I said, okay, well, you're one of those, right? Like.
Well, I can tell you I made a horrible decision by having two ranged weapons because when I need to get in close to people, it goes real bad for me.
Yeah, it might. It might.
Oh god! Oh, he mid-air strike.
You got your body has been desecrated.
Not just killed, desecrated.
Desecrated.
Okay.
Yeah. We don't die in this game. We're way more
I
dramatic.
feel like
than
that's
that.
a second stage of like after you die, then you can be desecrated. So in one hit, they do both. Like no, I killed you and I desecrated
Very
you.
efficient. Yeah. Yeah, single hit desecration.
Single hit desecration is also a great upgrade name. All right, I want you. Actually, I can't give it to you because we'll disconnect. So I'm going to stay player here.
Well, it's good because I want you to play what's about to happen next because this is the familiar part.
Okay. Now, is she telling me something that is interesting?
No, she kind of just says like you suck. This
Okay,
island
why did
and
you
then this
die?
island is weird.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna pick
Okay.
up.
So no, I guess you have to beat the first world for it to happen.
Okay. So I got. Let me not suck so bad. I think.
Was that an option the first time?
I think I might stick with my one range one. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so you're definitely in the
Still
random part of the
sucking.
game now.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna hop down here. Gonna mess this guy up. All right. Feeling good about this run now. Feeling good. Feel like
This is
I'm
the
getting
one.
the systems a bit.
This is the run.
I like the bow. I do like the bow. The knives, not so much. I mean, I do like poison in games, but the bleed and poison are kind of similar. Oh god. Oh. Okay.
So something the game doesn't make very obvious to you is you know how you just like fell through the platform there?
Uh-huh.
If you hit down an A while you're in the air, you'll do a stomp.
Wait.
Okay,
Oh, there
yeah,
it is.
and,
Okay.
And that will stun enemies and do some damage and is a weapon of its own. So
okay.
just keep in mind you got that.
I
And
got
there's also some of those random elements we were talking about will interact with the stomp on its own. Like when you stomp, you'll light everything on fire, or when you stomp, there's one that's like when you
Okay.
stomp, you'll coat the ground in oil.
And
there's
then
a
you
lot
can
of-
burn the ground or something.
Yeah, there's a lot of oil in this game. But again, I never did that because I was all melee weapons.
Gotcha.
But I've heard the oil's great. I was continuing story. It was like I finally picked up a ranged weapon, gave it a shot, and instantly just killed most things and got my first win. That's how I finally beat Dead Cells.
How do you feel about your life after that? Do you feel like you still made the right choice? Did you enjoy the journey of the melee weapons?
I had so much fun.
Okay.
Seriously, I really like Dead Cells is one of my favorite games of all time, and I was able to play it with zero success
blood
for
sword.
years.
So I just got a blood sword.
You got a blueprint for a blood sword.
Okay, so is there crafting?
There's not, but like blueprint means you've unlocked a weapon, or no,
Okay.
you've unlocked the ability to unlock a weapon.
I get it. So it's now okay. These are I really love the segues because pooling.
That's why you bring me around, dude. My segue game is on
so
point.
This guy can shoot through floors, and I'm not a fan of that. I think it's kind of a jerk move, and he should go away.
It's probably a bug. You might want to file that report. This guy's shooting through the wall.
But yeah, the segue into die. Okay, now I can talk and think at the same time. Yeah, like so in our tribe we have the concept of your first run you have certain access to certain weapons and upgrades, and then as you progress in the game, yeah, you unlock more, but you don't just instantly get that weapon. It goes into the pool of potential randomness. So something that's kind of a concept if you're building kind of a random upgrade system is there's going to be a pool of availability, and you want to make sure that pool can be varied. So Maybe don't necessarily use like a fixed array that can't be changed. Actually set it up so you can grow and shrink that list, because if you don't think you will, you might be mistaken. You likely will want to play with that. What? Yeah.
So when we get to it, I'll show you. But Dead Cells handles that. One of the best I've seen in any game.
Okay.
The whole like pool thing.
Okay.
And we'll talk about that here a little
I
shortly.
teasers. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I got to keep you listening to the end, right? Or we don't get ad revenue. So.
I can't. I want to wall jump, man. I want to
Yeah.
wall jump so bad. Can I get up here? Do you think? This looks too high.
So you got a thing on the ground that's pulsing at you.
Okay. All right.
Maybe you should
tickle
it. Yeah.
Is there a tickle button? All right.
There's definitely a tickle button. Okay, successful tickle.
Did I? He's not helping me with the tickle. I don't think. Okay. I'm hitting RB.
So I should mention the game's Metroidvania.
Okay.
So
do I not have the tickle weapon?
You don't have the tickle.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't have the touch of tickle.
Okay.
Yeah. You need the forbidden touch of tickle.
All right.
In order
So
to
I need to unlock
that part.
tickle ability. All right. Noted. All right. I'm gonna try going down. Oh, there's dudes here. That feels good. Okay.
So, how do you feel about like moving around, shooting, hitting things, just as a?
It feels good in this game.
Mhm.
Yeah. Scroll of power seems good. I want that.
Mm.
Yeah, and I really stuff. So are these randomized as well?
Those are not. No.
No. Okay.
So
These are fixed.
that's like your stat progression. For it's not a metagame thing. It's like per run.
Gotcha.
And it follows a very fixed curve.
So a mixing of some things are random and some things are fixed. These shield guys are like my worst nightmare. I despise them. Die, dude.
Another part of my 6-year journey in Dead Cells, I also never used a shield.
I can get in line with that. I'm not a big shield fan either.
I love shields in games, but this in Dead Cells, it's focused a lot on parrying instead of just kind of holding it up, and I am not good at. My age is starting to kick in now, and I got the twitch reflexes no more. So, but actually, parrying in this game, they handled it also super great. We'll go into that a little bit later as well.
Okay.
But
cool.
yeah, I finally decided again. My boy Quinn convinced me. He's like, "Yo, dude, just try the shield. Don't play a game for 6 years and
try one of
not try 60% of the game." You know what I'm saying? I was just double wielding melee weapons. But yeah, I tried the shield and it's fantastic, and it's a lot easier to parry in this game than like a Dark Souls or something, which is what I'm used to. And so when I heard parry, I'm like, I'm not learning all that shit again. Like, I'm not doing the iframes and the timings and the whatnot. So it turns out I was wrong. I think that's going to be a recurring theme through the
You're
podcast.
wrong.
It's like, oh yeah, remember that time don't do that.
I just got a grenade and I'm pretty excited about it. I'm gonna try. Yeah. Ooh, that felt pretty good.
Yeah,
that felt pretty good.
Froze them up.
Yeah. It makes me want to talk about other game design things, but I will wait
about
for that episode.
freezing things in game design.
About like particle effects and why that felt so good just then.
I could talk about a particle or two.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Ooh, speaking of particles. Ooh, look at that. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. These portals are cool, but I haven't wanted to use one yet because it feels like I'm backtracking. But I guess you said it's Metroidvania, so
yeah.
Okay. Ooh, is this a boss? No, he's a merchant. I don't want any of your stuff, dude.
I mean, you're way too broke to
I'm
afford
so
any
broke.
of it anyway.
I saw some red prices, and I was like, I don't want the shame.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep moving.
Yeah, dude, you got that millennial income going on.
Okay, so I'm moving on to the promenade of the condemned.
Promenade of the Condemned.
The writing impeccable.
sir.
Passage to the promenade of the condemned. All right.
Yeah. So in between, so it's a game focuses a lot around like biomes, or I mean, what most of us would think of as levels, and it has these little mini levels in the middle, and this is kind of where your meta game progresses. So here, I don't know if he's going to explain this to you fully. I don't think he really will.
But he's too far away to read anyway.
Yeah. So wait, before you do all this, like, so cells are the currency in this game. You can go and pull the menu up.
Okay.
Cells are the currency in this game that unlocks like meta stuff. So at this point, you can go to and you can spend on different upgrades or you could. This is where you unlock the weapons from the blueprint you picked up earlier by spending cells.
Okay.
Now now there's a bit of a gambling aspect to it because you can spend the cells you want now, or you can keep them and try to take them to the next one of these stages, which may have like a legendary guy that you can spend and get even better stuff. But if you die in between those, you'll just lose them all. So the cells actually don't carry over between gameplay. So it's like, do I spend them now or do I hold on to them and wait for the legendary vendor so I can get even better stuff?
Got it. And I need things to.
Well, I think they're just trying to do the tutorial thing of like, hey, buy one upgrade so I can show you what it does.
I'm gonna max out this health.
Yeah.
Goes. Okay. So you did it. You get
Yep.
a health flask 1.
And now you've unlocked all kinds of other
all
stuff.
sorts of
So
things.
yeah.
I will save. I will save my
Wait,
resources.
you don't want the blood sword? I mean, you're talking about you like making
I
things
did.
bleed earlier. You
All
can
right,
get
let's
the.
get this
So
one.
here's what I was. Wait, do we have enough cells? Oh, we're one short.
Son of a. I spent too much on my.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll get some. We'll get some more blood cells.
Mhm.
What am I doing? What is that animation? He's thinking.
Yeah.
Please do not break that door. Oh, I'm gonna break it.
Yeah. So that's the gambling thing. That door normally doesn't open until you've spent all of your cells, or you can just break it down if you want to do the gambling thing, right?
Oh, okay. All right. I want to kill some more stuff.
So this door you cannot actually break down until you do what he told
What he
you to
wants.
do.
Ah.
Yeah. So like you have it's kind of like Slay the Spire where you have like relics or whatever. You have to pick a relic. They call it a mutation in this game, where it's
Okay.
like a permanent like a permanent upgrade to your skills.
We got here range reduces skill, 30% damage if you're close.
So for the sake of speed, let's just scroll all the way down to the bottom
Okay.
and get Yar Oris Lee Ox or
Alright.
YOLO.
Okay. Oh,
It's YOLO.
that's
Yeah.
you're right. I assume it's amazing.
It's just it's extra life. So if you were to
okay.
die, it just goes away instead.
I feel like I just did a bunch of drugs.
You did.
Okay.
Yeah,
sweet.
it's because you sat there and you drank from this big giant potion.
It's a lot of liquid
It is. Yeah.
that went into his body.
Yeah, it's all from the sponsor from that we're gonna get soon.
Right.
Yeah, the energy drink sponsor that is in the works. And by in the works, you mean email info at or
Right.
like info at
Funny enough, I
energydrinksponsor.com.
think we actually did email them once because we stock our fridge full of energy drinks at the
yeah.
office here, and we're like, maybe they'll give us free drinks every month, and they're like, no, we're good. I was like, oh, all right.
Hey, they hit you back though.
They did. They did get back to
Okay,
us,
all
but
right.
then they were just like, no, thanks for reaching out.
Thanks for continuing to spend your but
Right. Yeah. Thanks for being a customer.
yeah.
What was that? What you gave us a teaser a second ago about some randomness thing. Are we close to that? Because I keep thinking about it.
We are you were one cell short of being able to do it. So you
oh,
need to
damn.
go. You need to progress to the next biome.
Okay.
But
Well,
when it happens,
it'll be get
I
back.
will
That's
very much
gonna
talk about it.
Maybe kill me. Kebabs. Kebabs are the floor chickens of this game, I think.
Yes.
Oh God, this is too much. I'm in trouble. No, I'm
But
not.
because this game's been around so long, there's actually a mode in the settings where you can change what the food looks like. So it can be all meat or like all vegetarian,
that's
or
funny.
it can all look like Street Fighter or not Street Fighter, Streets of Rage food or
Okay.
stuff like that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Or you can make it like medicine based, so it looks like band-aids and stuff. It's the detail and where they chose to spend that detail in this game. I question it times, but there are times, most of the time, it absolutely hits, and like that's one of those
Yeah.
times of like, hell yeah, I want 4 chicken. You know what I mean?
Right. That is a strange thing to to have. Oh, can I heal? Yeah, left button. Sure, let's do it.
You have to hold it down for a couple seconds because so
okay.
that's your like.
Yeah.
If you hold down the left button, you basically pull a potion out of your pocket, drink it, and go back to full health.
It's interesting. The healing process looks like he gets totally electrocuted. So
Yeah.
he just likes that. He's into it. Okay,
Mhm.
this guy looks tough, but I can shoot him from far away because I didn't do a melee build. All right. You're kind of tough, dude. I'm gonna shoot over your head over and over again. Yeah, let's do that. There we go. Okay, let's just go kill this dude. Die.
So you're not actually. I'm just gonna let him kill
Go.
you. Okay, I was gonna let him kill you 100%. So he's got that bubble around him, and that's a shield. You're not gonna be able to do any damage to him until you kill the thing. So do you see how like there's little particle effects that are flying from the enemy to? You need to kill the thing, the source of it, essentially, to remove the shield from everybody.
All right, they be vulnerable now.
Mm-hmm.
So can you? Oh gosh, I'm getting low on health, and I think I might. No, I'm good. I don't have any heals, just bombs that I'm wasting. Okay. Ooh, that was close. Can you think of any kind of randomness that you've kind of personally done development on that was exceptionally like core to the gameplay experience?
Yeah, I've worked on a lot of games where that's happened, and I'm more of a kind of a technical, like an engine type person, so I've kind of deviated away from a lot of that in my career. But sometimes I am nosy, and I just, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go tweak this code over here. So for a game that I worked on recently, I did tweak the proc gen side of stuff. So learning all that was kind of interesting, like just kind of balancing out something that is compelling versus something that is necessary to go forward in the game, kind of like you were talking about earlier. Like you don't want to give people just stat upgrades.
Right.
So trying to figure out like I guess the balance between randomness and fixed, or randomness and fake randomness, right? Of like,
Right.
let me guarantee that this first thing is a weapon, or let me guarantee that this first thing is of this caliber, of this quality, and then after that, I'll just give you garbage for a while. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or like
Yeah.
every 10 runs, I'm going to give you something that is exceptionally compelling or super interesting.
Yeah.
Just like stuff like that. That's interesting to find along the way, but like you don't really figure out those numbers until you play it a bunch of times.
Yes.
So like I find that getting something out and working super quick is super important, just so that you can kind of understand the game that you're building, kind of build it as you play it, which is super important for when you're doing any kind of proc gen or any kind of randomness in your game.
Something that oh, those are things that you can wake up. Oh, they got me for good that time. But something that speaking of kind of like getting things out and testing, I think especially, there's some stat modifiers that you can make some good assumptions, but you may not know how it feels.
Mm-hmm.
But then also like world generation of like, okay, how do I want my, if you're doing like, like Spelunky style, where it's like, okay, the world's different every single time, you really do kind of have to play that to see, okay, if I do it 10 times, oh wow, it gave me this one that's totally useless. Dropping chopping block. What is this chopping block?
So there are tons of stuff in Dead Cells, which just is kind of there to like, hey, this shows you a little more of the lore of the world, but doesn't
Okay.
actually do anything from a gameplay perspective.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, so you're in a world of just, or at least
Stuff.
currently in a room of just stuff to inspect.
Okay.
Okay, so remember when I said that there's a lot of weapons in the game?
Yeah.
Each of these glass vials is a different weapon
That's
that you
cool.
could unlock along the way.
That's pretty cool.
And you didn't unlock any last time, but as you unlock, the glass vials will fill with the weapon, and like a little picture of the weapon inside of it. So like you can kind of watch your progress grow.
Ah. That's kind of interesting. So that's a clever idea of kind of using the like, yeah, when you get them as random, but there's a long-term linear progression of filling all these
Hmm.
vials up. So that's pretty clever.
Yeah, and on my current playthrough, recently I've been playing Dead Cells on my phone. I think I have maybe 5 to 10% of these filled up, even though I've been playing my mobile version for at least 6 months or something.
Oh wow. Okay, so it takes some time.
There's a lot of these,
Gotcha.
and especially like once you get all the DLCs downloaded and stuff like that, that space like triples. And
What just happened? I did something bad.
it's they're teasing the Castlevania DLC because
Oh,
there's a bunch of bats flying around.
gotcha. Cool. Okay, I actually am actually really enjoying this game, so I could probably play it
Yeah,
forever. Like, it's fun. But yeah, so kind of to bring us back to kind of wrapping up the
Wait, so
the
before we fully
topic.
wrap up, I did
Yeah.
tease several times that I was going to talk about the thing in Dead Cells
Oh
that we
yeah.
didn't
Do I
make
need
it
to do I
Yeah.
need to go a little further?
No, you don't.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you.
I'll play while you talk to me.
How much more time do we have? 'Cause
We have zero.
Zero,
But
okay.
you have enough time to talk. Yeah.
yeah, so I'll just go into it. So that earlier a blueprint dropped that you picked up, and
Uh-huh.
like I told you, hey, that unlocks a weapon, but they do something clever with it.
Right.
So what I like is you take that blueprint to that vendor in that like in between screen from earlier, and if you spend enough cells, you unlock it and put it into the pool. Right, that's pretty
Okay.
standard for most roguelikes and games of randomness. What Dead Cells does that I like a lot is when you unlock a weapon, it instantly drops on the floor in front of you, and it drops on the floor as a what they call a colorless version. So no matter what your build or like whatever you specified your stats into,
Uh-huh.
a colorless will always take the highest of whatever that is. So even if the weapon isn't normally, so like, no, what if you have like a red weapon? And this weapon is normally red, but this one instance, because you just unlocked it, it will be colorless so that you can use it. So like, I find that is kind of an issue with a lot of games of randomness that I play. Is like I unlock this thing, I put it into the pool, and that is the most unexciting shit ever, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Right.
oh, you got this thing that maybe you'll get to use later. So
Right.
like, at least with this game, the second you unlock it, they will give it to you, and you can choose, okay, do I want to use this or not? So it's like at least I get a chance to play with this thing that I immediately unlocked, and then it goes into the pool, and then maybe I'll see it sometime
Right.
later.
Yeah.
Right. So like, and I kind of see that in a few roguelikes where the act of unlocking something will at least tease or give it to you immediately, so that you get that like instant satisfaction of, oh, this is the thing that I've been saving up my money for or whatever, and I get to
Right.
instantly use it versus, oh, it's just now in the pool and I might just kind of get it later.
Right.
I mean, because it could be hours before you get it soon.
Sure.
So while this doesn't quite work in all games, like it does really well for Dead Cells because it's all about kind of dropping weapons on the floor and all that kind of shit. I do like when games will say, "Hey, you've unlocked it," and the next time you do a random spin, one of your three choices is guaranteed to be the thing you
That
just
thing you just
unlocked,
got.
right?
Yep.
Because again, you know, neurodivergent, I'm all about the instant gratification.
Yeah.
So like to see that as a game design mechanic rolled into all of this random, it's great.
Yeah.
I love that.
A good example of that not done well is, well, sort of similar. I think of like when I think they've fixed it, but in Diablo you would get a weapon for a different class. Like it drops on the ground. It's like, I'm a mage and I just got something that only works for a rogue,
Yeah.
right? And you're like, God, like that's so frustrating. Now I have to, like, yeah, my friend is that class, so I can go find them, but inventory management, like, it's just frustrating. So I know they've spent some time. I don't recall which versions they've
Mhm.
patched that, but it was like, okay, we need to limit how many times you get the wrong classes, or just remove that entirely. Like you never get
Yeah.
another class.
World of
So,
Warcraft, like way back in the day, used to do that as well. Like I
yeah,
remember my first legendary drop in World of Warcraft, which is it's supposed to be like 1 in 100,000 or a million or whatever.
yeah,
Like you're not supposed to ever get these. I got one randomly, and I was a druid, and it was like a warrior weapon. And I was like,
yeah,
well, cool. I got this really exciting thing that I can not do anything. So I sold it to a vendor or whatever.
yeah,
You know what I
right,
mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and it was bound to my character as well, right? So it's not like I could trade it or
Oh.
do anything with it. So I got this thing that I just could not use, and like you just described, that's super unexciting.
Yeah. So I think that's a big takeaway. So like randomness, the benefits of it is it creates excitement because it's like, oh, what am I going to get?
Hmm.
And it makes replayability because especially in roguelikes, it's like you each playthrough, you don't know the upgrades are so critical to your progression in the game. It's not like a slow paced story. It's normally action, action, action.
Unless you played it like me in Dead Cells for the last 6 years, where you ignored 60% of the
You
game
got,
and you
yeah,
just kept
make
doing
your
the
own
same
game.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you kept doing the same thing over and over again, it's very consistent.
Right. The developers are like, why is he playing it like
Yeah.
that? It's like that.
Yeah.
There was that meme going around where it's like, QA is watching someone play and they're like putting the block, like
I love that
everything
so
in
much.
the square hole. It's like, no, don't put
Yeah, and she's just slowly dying on the inside. It's like, because it's like, okay, yeah, but it's like, oh, the circle fits through the square. It's like, oh, we didn't expect that. She just puts
right.
everything through it
Yeah.
slowly, and it just dies on the
Everything
inside.
fits through the
Everything.
square.
And
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I hate that.
Everything can be played with a melee weapon. Yeah.
But I love that. You know what I mean? That's totally different.
Right. So yeah, I mean it's great for replayability. It's great for adding excitement, and kind of almost the same thing that makes gambling exciting for people because it's like, am I going to win? Am I going to get a bad thing? Am I going to get a good thing? But the challenge is if it's too random and you get too many bad things in a row, then it sucks. And so you have to, anytime you use randomness in games, you always should build in kind of faux randomness, like how certain things should be random, but it should be weighted, right? We didn't talk about weighting, but
I,
that's important
I
too.
would even push what you're saying further just a little bit, and I'd say even if you're not making a game where randomness is at the heart or the core of it, that should be part of your development process, right? Because
Mm,
like what we were kind of saying earlier, like you play a game, playing a game is part of making it.
yeah,
So even if you're using like these kind of proc gen tools offline, and you're gonna whatever you're gonna ship is 100% a fixed product and there's no randomness to it, at least like while you're finding that fun and trying to play it over and over again, like having that as a dev tool is
mm,
is priceless. Like I know Borderlands was huge on that. They had like a gun, like way back in the day. They had like a gun carousel that just spit out a bunch of guns that were all random, and
okay,
some of the guns would be completely useless and couldn't be used just because they were like, oh, it's gonna shoot you in the face or explode or whatever when
right,
you use it.
yeah,
But a lot of other guns they found like, oh well, this was fun. Let me make this happen more often, or let me make this
right,
the tutorial weapon,
yeah.
right? Like
So
so,
you
like
use
having that as a
randomness
but
as a
that gun
tool.
carousel didn't exist in the game, right? It was
Yeah,
purely just a dev tool thing, and there's parts of Borderlands that probably wouldn't exist without that. So like
that's really
using
clever.
randomness
Yeah,
as a dev tool, even if you're not going to ship it in your game, is huge and super powerful. If you're in like if you're in a game design that can be very iterative,
uh-huh,
right?
yeah.
Like you have the room and the space to do that, then yeah, absolutely part of your dev process is something that you should always keep in the back of your mind.
Yeah, that's really clever because you could stumble upon something you never would have cognitively chosen that you'd want. Like let's say spawn rate, where it's like maybe it's random and it spawns 10x what you ever thought was reasonable, but you're like, oh my God, this is so fun to try and survive this onslaught that's way too large. And you're like, let's do that more in the game.
I
Yeah.
mean, unless you find a melee weapon and you just refuse to put it down for 6 years.
And then you're like, this is the
Yeah,
game of melee
this is
weapons.
yeah. I'm the melee guy now. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's a great insight to use it as a dev tool as well. But yeah, just always consider. I mentioned waiting, which we haven't talked much about. But like for example, in our game, our tribe, you have different categories of upgrades. So similar like to melee and range, it's like we have behavior updates or upgrades, we have weapon upgrades, and we don't want you to only get one type. And so within each category, there's weighting. There's like more rare weapons, but then there's also categorical weighting that, hey, let's have it, you know, of your 4 options that show up, there should be a little bit more skill boost and not and a little less weapons, because weapons are more special. And so whenever you do randomness, building in a weighting system is a good idea as well.
So in our tribe, do you guys have melee weapons?
We don't technically. We have close range weapons, but they're like
the close
they're
range. That's
magical.
melee. No, I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
no, I'm
yeah.
in. Like, do you guys? How do I get it? Is it
You can-
do you
yeah,
have a
you
Steam
can-
wish list or something?
Yeah,
like,
we'll give you Steam key. Yeah,
Okay.
and there is a build. So we have multiple character classes. There's a build that's supposed to be like, have you played Vampire Survivors?
only a lot.
Okay,
yes.
so like it's the garlic build basically, where it's just like I'm gonna stand here and like I can just wreck everything.
Put me in. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
so-
do I wish list it? Like, how do we?
Yeah, oh, you definitely should wishlist it. Yeah, so
Wait, you got? I was just kidding. It really is on Steam wish
yeah,
list?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
hell
So yeah, so you should wishlist it. Viewers, you guys should go wishlist it. So yeah, Our Tribe Above All, and it's currently in development. We're probably looking at a 2025 release, early, hoping Q1, TBD.
Of course. I plan on being around 2025 if all goes right.
That's
so,
yeah,
I'll be
that's
there.
good. So cool. Well, I think that we want to kind of keep these somewhat concise, but also fun. So please let us know if like we're covering things that are useful to you guys as fellow developers or people who may have an interest in games. If you want more technical, if you want more of the gameplay and less of the technical, let us know. But yeah, I think that'll wrap up today. Thanks for coming through, Ray.
Yeah. Pleasure's mine.
All right, bye y'all.